So I'm trying to expand my horizons on trailer hitches because you never know if what I like will go out of production. And the other thing is that I tend to have to order the Kurt hitches that I really like, and I have made videos in the past. So if you guys want to see those, I will link a Kurt review or two in the comments for both of these hitch reviews. I just wanted to share this B&W hitch that I got with you. I happened to be in the wrong place, left my trailer hitch behind, ended up picking up a trailer, decided to run Tractor Supply, and guess what they had on the shelf? A perfectly good B&W 2.5-inch receiver that has a pretty strong weight rating. I want to share a little bit about what it looked like and what it was like to tow with. I just did a review, basically an unboxing initial impression review on the Gen Y. I want to share, if you guys have seen that one, this, if you line up pin for pin here, and we take a gander over here, and it's not perfectly inclinated because this is a pretty honking hitch, and the other thing is it's kind of tall. But it's about 1.75 inches or so less distance between pin and ball using the front pin on the B&W. The B&W is actually shorter than the Gen Y. And why does that make a difference? I mentioned in the Gen Y video that I went into a lot more depth on this. But anytime you can limit the distance between the center line of the axle and the center point of your ball, it's going to take the same amount of force that your trailer is, because let's just say your trailers are constant. Let's just say the vehicles are constant. If you can decrease that by any amount, you're decreasing the amount of force that same input from the trailer is able to put on the vehicle, which is going to destabilize the vehicle. So that works for you for sure. These are going about things two different ways, and it's interesting. Both of these only have one pin that actually holds the ball and transfers the force of the trailer tongue, the ball mount, into the receiver for the trailer. There's only one pin holding this. There's two pins here, but there's only one pin here. So this pin is actually knurled. These ones aren't knurled, but they have a nice round ledge, both of which cases, are going to work just fine with gloves. I've been using this one this wintertime, and it's been worked just fine. Downsides to this, it's a trailer hitch. They do a pretty simple job. But what I will tell you is this thing makes a lot more noise loaded and unloaded than my Kurt setups do. Like I said, I really like Kurt hitches. I don't have any affiliation with them, but I'm trying to be well-rounded and try out both different types. As I mentioned in the Gen Y, I went with this one because it has a higher, the highest hitch rating that I could find realistically available at not a crazy price point like the hitches that actually have like removable hitches. There's hitches that actually have load securement bars that run up to the frame and distribute load, things like that. Those are very, very expensive. These ones pull in and out like a normal hitch. For a 2-inch, which is what my 3500 chassis cab happens to be in the future, if we run into problems, we could always upgrade to a 3-inch. Worst case, I picked up this one of the highest rated 2-inchers that I could find. This one is 16,000 pounds and 2,000 pound of hitch weight. We know when looking at this, it's going to handle a lot more than that without just falling apart. Same thing with the B&W. The B&W is a very stout piece of work. I will say this is a tubular attachment to the truck. I believe this is rated for 18,000 pounds. Maximum, 18,000 pounds gross vehicle weight of the trailer. This is a 2.5-inch, though, versus a 2-inch. This 2-inch, though, is solid. Just from a fabrication standpoint. And again, if you get any background of what's going on here, my shop is a mess. I got a pile of boxes I have to burn. Don't judge. So, tubular versus solid. It's going to be very, very hard to twist off that tubular. The way that Gen Y gussets in here, it's obscenely heavy, but it's very strong. My biggest concern with this guy is that all you have here, and this is a welded attachment right here as opposed to what appears to be a forged attachment over here. Definitely a little bit different setup for the attachment. We're relying on that pin, and I have towed with this, so let's take a look at it. You can definitely see that some force has been applied through this pin. There's no doubt about that, for sure. Now, this is retained on the backside by, I assume, a snap ring. Feels like a snap ring. So you can just spin this around, but is the snap ring going to equal having another pin? I don't think so. But in looking at this, and this surprised me because I kind of assumed that the Gen Y was going to end up being shorter pin to ball. So a little bit of an interesting thing, like I said, the B&W is actually shorter pin to ball. So if I think, in my opinion, that's a big deal. Keep in mind, though, this is two different constructions. I'm not sure what the 2-inch version of this is. I will tell you the 2-inch version of this is not in comparison to the weight rating, as far as I know, of this guy, which is henceforth why I got that one. But this spins, is retained, and is relying upon a pin there. And of course, this thing can spin out of the way. You can also just pull this if you wanted to. I guess you can get out of the way. A little recommendation. Yes, it's true that probably people stay off your rear when you're not towing if you have a hitch ball in, and that's true. And no, there's probably no downside to your vehicle to drive around with a hitch ball in it. But if you ever stub your ankle on it, or your shin, or if someone else, or if you've ever stubbed yourself on your shin on a hitch receiver, you would appreciate not actually doing that. And the other thing is, too, I've heard of states that get very pissed off about having these things in when you're not hooked up. Here in Michigan, this is the wild, wild west. People basically do whatever they want. Everybody runs with a hitch in. Eventually, it's going to get very rusty. This thing has seen, just one winter, and it's already got a little bit of rust forming there and whatever. My Curt hitch is rough. Part of the reason I got this is because we're kind of... it's actually long. Like I said, I was somewhere where I didn't have a hitch. I needed a hitch, so I got a hitch. But the other idea that I had in my mind was I'm going to recoat. It's currently sitting on the welding workbench, and I haven't ground it off. Maybe I should do that right now because I have surgery tomorrow. Maybe I should just get this done so that my buddy Bob can bring it to work and make it look pretty again. But it's looking pretty rough. But I've had mine for 6-7 years, and I'm back in the truck a lot. Total lot of miles in the snow. Tens and tens of thousands of miles in the snow, but let alone the no snow. So the Curt is looking pretty rough, but it's not saying that it's bad coating. We will see how the B&W holds up. Initial impressions, we obviously have some rust starting in certain places. I'm not sure. It looks like we have a little bit of surface rust down there that's probably bleeding out from the inside. This rotating piece over time is probably going to end up getting a little crusty. This is, I'm sure, chrome plated. So, so we'll see how the chrome plating holds up. This being welded, of course, it is difficult to weld this thick of material to this thick of material. Your process of heating, and then getting enough penetration as you weld. And I hope that because you're entirely relying, as far as I can see in my eyes, this would be the surface that would concern me the most of a potential fracture point. Is how well did they weld this? This does look like a MIG weld, but it could be a machine weld. I would say at least it was put onto a lathe, if you want, where it had a spinning chuck, if you want, to do this, to have this consistent of a pattern going around the outside. But the limitation of this design is going to be how well that was done, whereas this guy appears to be a forged item, and that ball is probably hooked very, very well to that shank. So a little bit about both. Like I said, a little bit of noise here, not really a huge amount of downsides. I use just whatever random pin that I bought, like 5 of them at a time at Tractor Supply, so I had some extras. Nothing special there. It's a heavy-duty enough pin for what we're doing. This comes with some decent-looking pins. They're nicely knurled, nothing too crazy. In general, hitches are kind of boring, but I wanted to make a little content sharing what I've found. I'm looking forward to when I get better putting the Gen Y to work. It only just came, and like I said, I got this for the dump truck. I'll link this video, and I'll link each other's video in each other's video so you can see that. I talk a lot about some background about hitches and forces and things like that with trailers. In this video, I don't want to make this one longer for the sake when I've already talked about it, but I hope that you guys enjoyed, the quick look of this thing. I like it. It's not bad. It's a hitch. You can go buy it at any old Tractor Supply, and it's probably going to serve you extremely well over time. So that is the recommendation there. If you pull where this one, when you pull the pin, it's not impingingly going to fall out. Let me tell you, if you're close to the ground or your vehicle sits a little bit lower and you were to pull both these pins, you didn't have a good hand on this thing is coming down at Mach Jesus, and this battering ram is going to come around. And whether it smokes you in the shin or smokes you on the toe, if your trailer hitch is close to the ground and you go monkeying with this and you don't have a firm grasp, it's going to smoke you. So keep that in mind when you're using this. Not that it's a bad design. Not trying to beat up on B&W. That's not my intention. I'm just trying to share my experiences. It caught me off guard the first time I did it. The pin slid out nice and easy, and this thing went for a romp. And if at any point your shin was in the way of it, it would hurt. Of course, you can tow this or flip this thing around, and I think that's why I call it stow and go, and I think that's why you can turn this thing sideways, is to tuck it all up underneath here. Will I ever do that? I already mentioned in this video. I recommend you just take your hitch off when you're not using it to prevent somebody from stealing it. These hitches are getting to be expensive enough. They're not your run-of-the-mill Reese hitch, you know, that you can pick up for $37, $37.99 on sale at Tractor Supply anymore. Things have changed a little bit, but also, you know, the size of trailers that people are commonly towing have gone up too. People have, I mean, me for one, and many of you are towing some decent size setups with conventional hitches, and therefore they've gotten pretty big and pretty heavy, so, and very expensive. Take care all and have a wonderful day.